Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and I'm here to share with you how to do a no buy or no spend year. There could be many reasons why you have come to watch this video today. It could be that you are trying to clear off some debt, you could be saving for a holiday, or you could be saving for a house deposit. Whatever your reason, you've come to the right place. I'm going to share with you the best advice that I can give you about how to do a no spend year. I completed my first no spend year last year and I'm really pleased with how well I got on with it. I think you'll be surprised at how beneficial it will be. In fact, it's going to give you much more than financial freedom. It's going to completely change your mindset and how you think about physical items and physical things, which is kind of why I've gone on to a bit of a decluttering and minimalist journey, because that seemed to fit really well with completing a no spend year. It may be that a year sounds too much for you and you may want to start off by doing it for just 1 month or a couple of months, but I think what you'll find is that after you started 1 month and you've completed your first month, how easy it is to keep going and to keep motivated. So let's share all my best tips on how you can complete your own no spend year. The first thing that you need to do is to find your why. To have a reason as to why you are tracking your spend is really vital in order to keep your motivation throughout this process. This is why it's important to make sure your reason is a really good one. If it's not a strong enough reason, it's going to be harder to keep motivated during that time. There are lots of different ways once you have found your reason to keep that reason to the forefront of your mind. So you could have a visual clue in different areas that could help motivate you. You could have a poster that has a visual image that you find really connected to your reason, like a vision board which has like holiday pictures or a house example of what you would like to buy, or examples of your lists of debt of what it is that you want to clear. Having that visual reminder on a regular basis, something that you're going to see all the time, is going to help you to keep focused, especially on those days and those months where it gets a little bit tougher. The next thing you need to do is to know your income and your expenditure. This is the crux of your information. You need to know exactly what's coming in, exactly what your essential bills are that are going out, and the key there is essential. Anything that is left over is non-essential. So this is the bit of information that you need. You need to know how much is your non-essential spend that you are whittling away on a regular basis. That's the bit that you need to investigate. So for the most part, what we're going to be looking at is that bit of information, but there are little bits in your essential bills that you could look at reducing. I know that lots of them are relatively fixed and there's not an awful lot you can do about it, but there are a few areas where people do overspend, and one example is food. So I've done some videos already on how to save money with regards to food, so I'll leave a link up there. I'll give you a brief summary now. So the key points that I need to say about food is that lots of people spend far more than they actually need to eat and to be healthy. People spend lots of money buying branded items, they buy extra items that are in the supermarkets nowadays, like homeware, clothing, things like that, that are not necessarily food items, and this is what sees your bills go up higher than they should be. It's not just about what you're eating, it's those other things that you are picking up at the store at the same time, and quite often they're not necessarily items that you need. Often we also go out to the shop multiple times within a week, and this is another way in which your overall food spend is creeping up. It's those extra little trips to the shop that are unnecessary and unneeded. The reason why you're most likely doing this is because you're not planning what you're eating in the week and you're not going to the shop with a list. So let's go into those things a little bit more. So in order to be able to know what you need on your list, you need to know what you have in your cupboards and in your fridge and freezer. I highly recommend you get an inventory of everything that you have and you think about what it is that you've already got and what meals can be made from that. Alternatively, have that record so that you can decide what meals you would like to have for the week, and then use your inventory list to cross off the items that you've already got, and then the items that you are left with are the ones that you need to put on your list for food shopping. Your inventory doesn't have to be extremely precise, it just needs to be roughly what you have. So you don't need to say how many grams of sweet corn you have in your freezer. It's just about saying whether or not you've got a bag, half a bag, a quarter of a bag, just so that you know when you are running low, and that is when you need to top up. So when you've got only a quarter of a bag left, which you know is going to cover you for maybe 1 week or two, then that is the time when you would stock up on that item. And when you have your list and you go to the shop, the most important thing about that list is that you stick to it. So quite often we take a list and we get the items on the list, but we also pick up extra items. That's the pitfall that we fall down, is to get items that are not necessarily on our list. So those are the items that we need to resist from buying. If you think that they should be on your list, you need to make sure that you're looking at why you need that on your list. Make sure your list is thorough enough in the first place so that you're not missing any of those items. So reminder, you need to avoid the seasonal aisles, the clothing area, and those middle aisles that appear. Now, going back to that extra spare money that you have that is on non-essential items, you need to have a look at what you have been spending that money on for the last 2 to 3 months. That will give you a really good picture on what areas you are spending your money on. For example, are they cosmetics, eating out, takeaways, activities, books, subscriptions? Looking at those last 2 to 3 months is really going to help you pick out all those spending habits that you're having. And I would do a total for each category. Once you've got a total for each category, you can then look at where it is that you can reduce your money. Is it that you spend far too much money on clothing, and can you give yourself a maximum amount that you can spend? Or you can go full cold turkey like I have and give myself a whole spend limit, which is usually between 50 or 100. That is the maximum I can spend in a whole month for any category. So there's 2 different ways that you can do that one to help you. I suggest you do what works for you. If you know that you still have to be able to buy some of these things, then maybe just think about how you can cap the limit on how much you're allowed to spend. The next thing you need to do is plan for expenses by using sinking funds. So there are lots of expenses that will come up throughout the year that are a given. So you know that you're going to have to pay for an MOT, you've got to pay for car repairs perhaps, birthdays, Christmas, and maybe car insurance. Those items are going to happen each year, but you don't necessarily have to pay for them monthly. So I suggest that you have a pot of money that is set aside for how much you think you would spend in a year on those items, so that when it comes to buying those items, you don't have to use any set spend money. You have already allocated money for those things. So if you know you spend £200 in a year on different birthday gifts for people, have that £200 ready at the beginning of the year so that you know that whenever a birthday comes up, you have got the money ready to spend. This is particularly important for things like car insurance. If you pay in one lump sum for the whole year, it can actually save you money. Because if you pay by direct debit on a monthly basis, they do put a percentage on that gives them a little bit of profit. So actually, if you can do yearly, you quite often will get a discounted rate. And all these pennies soon add up. So if you can save money in some areas, it means more money in your pocket. The next key one that kind of comes hand in hand with doing a no spend year, which may sound a little bit odd at first, is reducing your clutter. This is an opportunity to go around your house and reduce the amount of items that you have. It will help you to understand the value of the items that you already have, what is providing worth for you. We tend to fill our homes up with a range of different clutter for various different reasons, and that can be ornaments, knickknacks, it can be plants, mugs or cushions. It's items that we buy over and over again and we don't necessarily need them. The ones that we just kind of build up stock of. When you start to declutter those unnecessary items from your home, you soon begin to realise how much you spent on those items, and probably most likely how little you've used it or how little worth you've got from that item. And as you start getting rid of those items and see that space around you, you value that space even more. I've done a whole range of videos on how to declutter and different decluttering challenges, and I will link those up above for you. I also did a Christmas decluttering challenge as well. So I did 12 days of Christmas decluttering. So I'll leave that link as well up there. My next tip is to use up items. So this means looking at all those items that are either under the sink, like cleaning products, or the shampoos and conditioners, as well as like the food items that you have. So any of those items around the house that you need to kind of use them up first before buying more. Quite often we are really tempted to have a stockpile of shampoos or conditioners, when in reality we don't really need 12 different shampoos. We can use up those products and keep a small stock. Chances are they're not gonna not be in the shops. So at the minute we just need to use up all the items, and that will give you lots of space as well in your home. And my final tip is to find 3 things to do with your family and friends. The reason I'm specifically saying this is because what you are most likely to have been doing was spending a lot of time shopping. And when you stop doing that, you stop spending that time on the online shops or in retail stores, you have a lot of time in your hands, and it can make you feel a little bit agitated if you don't know what to do with that time. So use that time wisely, and this is why I'm thinking you suggest things that are free for family and friends to do with you, so that you can be active and gain that reconnection with people. You'll get much better relationships and interactions with one another, which is so good for your well-being. And being in the middle of this pandemic really has highlighted how important well-being is. So make valuable use of that free time that you're now going to have, because you are not spending your money. I really hope that you're going to join in with either a no by year, or if you can't do a whole year, then a no by month. I will be sharing my updates every month. So do let me know in the comments if you think you're going to have a go at this for the next year or for the next month, and I look forward to sharing your thoughts and feelings about this moving forward. I shall see you soon. Take care. Bye.